All right, everyone. Welcome to American Dreams Radio. It's a joy, a pleasure, an honor to be here. It truly is. I have had, over the years, as you know, many, many guests on this program. Sometimes we get one who just flat out catches on. Now, we interviewed this gentleman, Ted Thomas, recently, and he was telling us about how you could use his teaching system or his educational system, the knowledge that he's learned over the years, he's put down into I guess what you call an educational program. And you could start learning very quickly how to turn your investment portfolio into a dynamic event. I mean, watch things grow, make real money, build a real retirement, even make a great living if you follow the instructions that Ted Thomas gives. I've asked Ted to come back on the show because we had just amazing amounts of interest in what he's offering. Ted, welcome back. Nice to have you here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, Ted, I guess part of what I wanted, last time we talked about kind of generalities about what you do and about interest rates and how you can invest in these lien certificates and properties that are in distress and get the government to kind of pay you. But I want you to just give me an overview real quick of what you do.
Okay, it's really a simple business that's been around for about 200 years, and it has to do with government certificates, which the local governments issue, and they call them tax lien certificates. And the reason the government issues them is many people do not pay their property tax. Now, we're not talking about sales tax or income tax or wealth tax. We're talking about property tax where people didn't pay it. And when they don't pay it, what the government has is a shortfall. In other words, they couldn't pay for the school teachers and the fire departments and the police departments. So they sell the certificate, and that way the people don't lose the house, so they feel good about that. But they sell the certificate, and anyone, you or I or anyone we know, can buy the certificate, pay someone else's taxes, and then when the people finally come in and pay their tax, which was overdue, they have to pay back the tax amount and the amount of the certificate. Now, the reason people like these certificates, depending upon the state, certificates pay 16%, 18%, 24%, all the way up to 36% interest on the certificate. Now, they can't earn any money from me. I just teach people how to do it. This is local government certificates. So they can buy these in local areas in about half of the United States.
Right. Now, this is a pretty unusual business, obviously. So when a student begins one of your courses, what does it take, say, from day one to that first business deal? How long does that take somebody to accomplish normally?
Well, you could make a deal in a day. You could do it that quickly if you wanted to. But if you want to get educated, we put everything on DVD, CD, and then we put it online, easy ways to learn. Some people actually come to classes. So it depends upon the person, but usually a person will spend 3 or 4 weeks, part-time studying the materials before they go to an auction or before they buy them online. But you can start in this business for $50, or if you're, a sophisticated investor, or you become one, you can invest, $50,000, because what you're doing is you're paying a tax. For example, a giant shopping center doesn't pay their tax. Well, the local government will sell a certificate on that property, and you can pay the tax. You could pay the tax on that property. And then when the management gets together and pays their tax, you get back all your money. And let me say that again, you get back all your money plus that high interest rate, depending upon the state that you bought it in. So a quick answer is you could do it tomorrow afternoon online, or you should take a few weeks and really learn how to do it.
Right.
So you want to be out of the. I like to teach people, stay out of the risk business. You don't get into investments that are risky, and these aren't risky because you invest with the government and you get a check back from the government.
Right, and you're talking about just ordinary people, ordinary investors. You don't have to be one of these,
sure.
One of these high-level, complicated, fund manager types to do this. This is something. I mean, for lack of a better definition, this is a kitchen table business.
Well, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the counties sell them locally. For example, let's say you're in a county that was in let's say some part of Northern California, like you're up in Siskiyou County someplace. They're going to sell those certificates right within that county, and they only advertise within that county. I just happened to make a business out of it a couple of decades ago, and so I've gathered information from all 3,000 counties. So I can go into a database, or you could, if you were attached to my system, you could find out what county was selling what certificate and what amount. They sell certificates for $50, $500, every amount, but they sell them locally, and that's why we're doing the radio right now, is because people don't understand that this is even available. Most people are shocked to find out they could be buying certificates in Florida from wherever they are in the world.
Right, and what I loved about what we talked about last time, and I want to just reiterate it this time, this is something that you can do from your home with a computer and make really big money, whether you're trying to save for retirement or I'm guessing people make a real living at this too, don't they?
Oh, some people. I have people that I teach this in all the Canadian provinces. I teach it in Bangkok, Thailand. I teach it in Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, even to Singapore, because those people have learned, and we've taught them, they can actually buy online. So you can be doing this all day and all night because they have these auctions online, and you can buy the certificate online. So some people make well over six figures. Other people are happy making $5,000 or $10,000 a year doing it. It just depends on what the person wants to put into doing it. But it's a profitable business. It's been around for 200 years now. No business is going to survive for 200 years unless it's good for the consumer. That means the listener, and it's good for the local government. This is a government-mandated system. I didn't invent it. I just took a number of years off and then wrote books about it and created CDs and DVDs so people could study it. And then we created online courses for them to study also.
Are there enough of these opportunities out there for everyone to get involved?
Okay, that's a good question. And here's why it's a good question, because people perceive that there's a shortage. So just let me give you a couple of round numbers. Now, don't put me to the test for the exact one. But in the United States, there's about, round numbers, there's 100 million homes. Between 2.5% and 3% of those homes or taxable properties will not pay their tax. That means there's going to be 2.5 to 3 million of these certificates, either a tax lien certificate or a tax defaulted property available. Now, I'm speaking to you from a little island. I live on an island just off the coast, on the Atlantic coast in Florida. And in Florida, in the month of May, they will have 1 million certificates available. And Florida pays up to 18% on a certificate.
So what you're telling me is you're not going to ever run out of opportunities here to make money.
No, people are concerned. They say, well, what about the hedge funds? Could they come in and buy them all? Well, the hedge funds, they're just going to look at a list and they're just going to buy thousands. They don't know what they're buying. They don't care. They're just placing money. So we show people how to do it using a computer, and we show them how to shop them and be able to buy certificates. Now, every certificate in Florida isn't going to pay 18. Sometimes some will pay 12, some will pay 8. But when the interest rates at the local bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, whatever, if they're 1 or 2% and you can get 8 or 10% on your money, that's a pretty good investment. Now, places like Iowa, they pay 24%, and you can earn all the way up to 36% in Illinois. So they'll just give you some representative states.
All right, let me give a phone number because I'm sure people listening already are interested. At this phone number, you can get more information, or you can just sign up and start taking the course right away. There are different levels of pricing to meet your budget, so you won't have any trouble affording this. The toll-free number is 855-220-2516. If you need a minute to get a pen, pencil, or crayon, I'll give this out again, but that number again is 855-220-2516. And, I would like to see folks in this radio audience get rolling on this if they're looking for ways to make money. I know a lot of guys my age, mid-50s, are trying to figure out ways. It's hard to get a job nowadays if you're out of work. The investments don't pay much unless you just happen to get lucky and hit it right in the stock market or something. So this is I think that what I wanted to really punctuate here is that this is legitimate, guaranteed return. The government pays you, guarantees you a certain percentage. You negotiate it right up front. Is that right, Ted?
That's exactly right. When you bid on a certificate, you can change the amount. That's and then whatever that certificate says, you're guaranteed you'll get that money. And here's the beauty of this investment. If you didn't get paid, you'll actually get that property without a mortgage. I know that sounds unbelievable, but it's the law of the land.
I'll take all those I can get. I'll take all those I can get. I told my wife's already told me if I don't get her the course, she may have to, find an intelligent man and leave me for him.
No, she won't leave you. We'll help you. We'll help you get to go. Yeah, once people hear about it. The problem with this is it hasn't been advertised. For example, brokers are people that have to earn their money on commission. So there's no commission on this, so they're not going to tell you. Most attorneys, they have some education on it, but they don't know about it. And it's only advertised within a local community. So you're not going to know about the vastness of this business. As I said, 2.5 million properties will go in default this year, and the government has got to get this money. Now, let's not make the government out to be the bad guy here. The government is the good guy because what they're doing is they're collecting local money, and that local money pays local police, local fire departments, local libraries, local hospitals. What happens if the people don't pay tax? You have to shut down the roads. All the local things are paid with this tax. So this is a good tax. Now, I know people have opinions about the military and about welfare and all that, but this is a tax. You can't survive without this tax. You wouldn't have a way to drive to school. You wouldn't have schools.
I think people believe in education and infrastructure and police and fire, and I don't know too many people that object to paying for good government at the local level. There's no question that, especially with these certificates, you really are truly helping the local government stay afloat, and there's a premium paid out for your benevolence, so to speak. It's a win-win. Right. No, everybody wins. Even the property owner who's behind on their taxes wins, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. You see, if they sell a tax certificate, that means that that state's being very benevolent. And I'm going to tell you, there's other states that are not benevolent. But the states that sell tax certificates are saying to that homeowner, look, we're going to get you a little time. We'll let someone else pay the tax. Get your act together. If you lost your job, we'll get a new job. If you need a loan, go get a loan. Get it taken care of. But when you come in to pay the tax, you're going to have to pay a penalty. And that penalty could be 16%, 18%, all the way up to 36%. So it just depends on which state you're going to buy them in.
Now, I was just completely enthralled with videos that I watched of your students who have succeeded at this. And what really just completely took me by surprise was how much money these folks were making on these deals. Not just the tax lien deals, the certificates, but also, these properties. Like you said, if they don't pay the taxes, you get the property for free, basically. I mean, for whatever you paid in the tax.
Right.
And then also, if you also have the other thing where you do the buying of distressed properties that are in foreclosure, and because of the database that you've put together, and I know you've got this new kind of fast-track database that allows access to all kinds of stuff. I mean, a person can sit there on their laptop while they're watching their favorite TV show and make a fortune with this. And your students are proof of that. They're doing it. It's like, wow.
It's a boom for people that learn out. Once someone learns this, they'll turn to me and they'll say, why didn't someone tell me about this 5 years ago? It's a simple system. Let's take California, use that just as an example, because everybody said, well, will this work in California? Yes, it definitely will, because California, if you don't pay your taxes, they'll give you so many notices. That's called a due process. And when they finish doing that, if you haven't paid the taxes, the state of California, and they'll have the county do it for them, will confiscate, and that means they're going to seize. They take your property. Now, they don't want property. California got enough property. They don't want any more property. They're going to sell that property, and when they sell it, now this is going to be hard to believe, but people are going to go into shock that are listening. They are going to sell that property, starting bid, the back taxes. Now, there is no person listening to this program that wouldn't like to buy a property for back taxes with no mortgage. Now, let me give you an example of how big this is, and then I'll give you a few examples of people making money. Let's just take Los Angeles County. I'm not taking the state of California. I'm just taking the one county. In Los Angeles County, and I've attended these auctions 3 times in the past 5 years, they will have, twice a year, they'll have an auction, and they will sell, starting bid, any property in Los Angeles County that they have confiscated. They'll start with the back taxes. Now, because smart people that we're teaching, they go there and they might pay more than back taxes. But if you could get a property for 20 cents on the dollar or 30 cents on the dollar in California, could you quickly sell it for 50 cents? Well, of course you could. We've been teaching people for 2 decades to go to every county. As a matter of fact, as we're speaking, the next auction is coming up in King County. That's right in the middle of the San Joaquin Valley. And they're going to have 80 properties in that county. Now, that's all farm country down around Lemoore and Hanford and those places that everybody drives through on Highway 99. Well, that county has 75 or 6 properties. They'll auction, starting bid, the back taxes. There's no mortgage on these properties. The mortgage is wiped out by state law. And so those properties will come up. That's happening in half of the counties in the United States. Now, those counties are not benevolent. The ones that sell the tax certificate, they're very benevolent. They give you a second chance. But in the states that sell the tax defaulted property, they just confiscate it and they sell it for the back taxes. So we teach people outside the United. This is very popular outside the United States because we teach them how. We go there and teach them how to do it online, and these people will buy at those auctions online and offline. And it's not unusual. I could show you not dozens but hundreds of examples of people buying for less than 30 cents on the dollar and then selling it back into the market and making 6-figure incomes.
Yeah, well,
it's legal. It helps everybody.
I was amazed that if you bought a property. I love how you teach this. You buy a property for 20 cents on the dollar. You tell people not to go over that, which I think is smart. You buy a property for 20 cents on the dollar. So you buy a $100,000 property for 20 grand. Rather than hang on to it and put it on the market and sit on it for months, you say, just call a realtor, list it, and sell it for 50 grand. Grab your profit and run.
Exactly.
And the reason is there's so many of them.
Television.
Go ahead.
You see all those guys on television saying, fix it up, do all this work. I don't do any of that. If you ever see me with a hammer, you better call the police. I don't do any of that stuff. We just buy them and quickly sell them and let those guys that are fixer-upper people, because there's a lot of handymen out there. I'm not criticizing them. I'm really bragging because there's a lot of guys that, my dad was a plumber. If he found a deal like that, he'd get all his buddies that could fix the roof and fix the concrete. They'd go make that house a new house in 3 months' time, and they'd all make a big profit.
Right. But no, and the reason you teach people this, as I understood it, is that if there are so many of them, there's no reason for you to sit on something. Get your money. And go make another deal and get your money and go make another deal and get your money. So you're going to turn over a volume of deals and make a ton of money, leave a little bit on the table for the guy that wants to do all the work to fix it up. I think it's brilliant.
Exactly.
I mean, to me, it's one of the most. I mean, I told you last time. I'll tell you again. I'm a little bit embarrassed that my wife came over and looked at it and said, "Man, why aren't we doing this?" I said, "Well, I just found out about it."
We don't want to admit this, but from the time you're a junior in high school, I never did until I was 50 years old. But women are more practical. They figured out. As a matter of fact, my women clients do better than my men clients, and I know you're going to ask me why, so I'll tell you why. It's because they'll read the directions and they'll follow coaching that we give them. They do better because they'll follow the steps we tell them to do. But let me tell you one thing that you won't believe, but I'm going to tell you anyway, and we can back it up and show you videos of it, and you can go into the county records and you find it out. They are not able to sell all the properties at auction. For example, the last Los Angeles county, and I only picked one county. I think there's 56 in the state. Okay, I only picked one. It was Los Angeles. They had over 1,800 properties in Los Angeles. Richest county in the United States had 1,800 properties, which they were selling, starting bid, back taxes, and they couldn't sell them all. They couldn't sell them all.
Oh, wow.
They had to stop the auction at 5 o'clock because county employees go home then. And guess what? They had to come back the next day, and they cut the price in half. So it was full taxes the first day. It was half taxes. They wanted to get rid of them. They couldn't get rid of all the property.
All right, let me give out that toll-free number so if people have questions, they can call and have them answered right now. You can call right now if you're listening and get all your questions answered. Get the pricing. Ted has several different courses available. Personally, I would tell you get the top course because that's the one where you're going to get everything in one swoop. 855-220-2516. 855-220-2516. You will be like a master degreed real estate investment superstar in just a few days, literally, after taking the course. And then Ted also has some events, but call that number, 855-220-2516. Did I say that right? 855-220-2516. Anyway, write that down. Call them up. Get all the information you need. Maybe you can show up at one of Ted's events and give him a little hug, and he needs love too. And
yeah, they fall in love with it.
And I want to just say that's what I found with your students when I was reviewing the videos and looking at some of their testimonials. Yeah. They love you.
Yeah,
these people.
They're doing so well.
They love you because you have taken the horrors out of planning for retirement and building an income and creating a nice nest egg. You've taken the horror out of that. You've made it fun.
Roger,
you've made it interesting.
I interviewed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your words. I interviewed a woman from California the other day. I'm not going to tell you how much money she made because if I do, you won't believe it, and the audience wouldn't believe it. But before the interview, she was explaining what she does with the money. In the state of California, she feeds every week 44 people.
Wow.
In the country of one of the countries in Africa, she feeds 4,400 people a month.
Whoa.
That's what she's doing with the money. Now, there's someone, everybody wants to give some money to someone they love. My clients average 50, 60, 70 years old because they now have some money finally in their life to invest, and they learn this. Now, they can't invest with me. Now, remember that. You got to give it to the government. I just teach them how to do it. These people all want to give money to someone they love. Can you imagine taking care of 4,400 people and feeding them? I can't even imagine that. That would be like the army.
Right. Well, my wife and I.
She's so proud.
My wife and I are looking at. We've got 4 grandkids. Maybe more on the way. We'd love to help them go to college at some point eventually or do whatever their dreams compel them to do later in life, And I don't know that our kids are all hard workers and good people and smart and educated and probably will do fine. But, we want to leave a little legacy too. So my wife is motivated. She left banking a few years ago to work with us in the company, the marketing company, and she loves it, but she would like to do something where she can just go out and create an account, a fund for the kids for college or whatever. They may decide to go into business. They may take Ted Thomas's course. I don't know, but
right, they could do that. Sure.
But she wants to help
and they
them.
Could invest.
And so I said, we'll do it.
I interrupted you, so I'll stop.
Oh, I just told her do it. I mean, let's do it. I mean,
okay.
Our parents weren't able to do it for us, so.
What most people don't know, and I should bring it up, is they probably already have an Arei account or a small pension plan or even a big pension plan. That money can be invested in these certificates. We've been doing this so long that we've got the counties and the local government saying, they'll probably ask you the question, do you want to do it in your personal name or are you going to put it in your pension plan? Now think about this. If you had an IRA or a 401 or one of those accounts, you could have the account buy a property for back taxes. Now what if you sold it for 50 cents on the dollar? All that profit would stay in that account and you wouldn't have to pay taxes until you took it out. It's just the law, and the local governments are prepared to do that with you. I mean, they've figured it out. It's for the guy that wants to learn how to do it and just give his money to a broker and say, please make me some money, or give it to an insurance guy and wait to die. I mean, this is something that can it's an alternative, and you have to learn it, and it's different, but it's been around for 200 years. I didn't invent it. I just took time to study it and bring it to the marketplace.
Well, I have a neighbor who's trying to live on his pension. He was a police officer, and Social Security, I guess, is part of his pension. He makes it, but they're not living high on the hog, okay? And we were talking about the Ted Thomas program the other day. I was showing him on the computer, and he's 86 years old, and he's looking at your course right now.
Good for him.
Okay,
you can do it right online.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got a little money to invest, but he would like to leave a little bigger legacy for his kids and grandkids. So I suppose everybody has their motivation. My motivation is, I don't think you can never have enough money until you have enough money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what that is for some people, but
if you have the ability to make it, there's so many good things you can do. I don't know, it might be a local church or synagogue, or whatever. It doesn't matter what your persuasion is. You could do that. You could take care of kids. You could build something in the community. There's so much help that's needed. Why not give a part of it? It doesn't hurt you. And in this business, if you invest with the government and get checks back from the government, I'd say that's nobody can say nothing is risk, but I think that's as low a risk as you're going to get. I don't know how to get lower risk than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's virtually guaranteed as you teach, and I think because the governments are so dependent on the revenue that you can truly feel as though you've done some good just by being an investor in this environment. And then the distressed properties that are out there. I mean, if somebody picks those up and gets them fixed up and sold, and somebody comes in and rehabs them later, you're helping other people's property values. You're helping the community, getting rid of the blight. I mean, there's so many good things that come from what you teach. That it's.
I had a wonderful conversation the other day with a woman in Kelowna, British Columbia, and this woman had such a challenge over the past years. Her husband was doing very well working with the Canadian telephone company. I can't remember. I think it's Telesys they call it. And they made an agreement when they were young. They're bringing up their boys, and they wanted to make sure they went to either a trade school or they went to a college, whatever they wanted to do. And so they're living a reasonably good life, but they're worried about the future because they know they're going to have to retire, and then they're worried about inflation. So she's put herself in charge of handling the company money, meaning the business of making sure their life was good after she retired. And for 20 years, I couldn't believe her patience. This is amazing. For 20 years, every year she either hired an insurance man, a registered advisor, a broker, and she said, "Look, I have this small portfolio I want to grow, and if you'll make me 5%, and all she wanted was 5%. I don't think that was too bad. And she said, if you make me 5%, I'll stay with you." And she never, in 20 years, had anyone that made her 5%. And so she came to my class. I conducted a class in Vancouver. And sure enough, her first property, now listen, she's in Vancouver, British Columbia. You can't get any further on the continent to come all the way to Florida. So she bought online in Florida, and her first year rate of return was 40%.
Whoa.
She bought a property, and she could have sold it and made herself thousands of dollars, but she was so interested in having a steady income. She made 40%. Her second year will be higher because she'll raise the rent on that property. She actually bought a mobile home on the ocean, and her rent is so high she's making a 40% return. Now that woman, just think of where she is now. That was the first one she did. She's since done 3 of those. She's not in a hurry to get rich. She just wants to do 1 a year.
All right, we've got about a minute left.
Amazing.
We've got about a minute left here in the show or so. So let me give out that phone number again so people can call and get more information. Order the class program if they want. 855-220-2516 is that number. 855-220-2516. And I just want to say, Ted, we're going to have to do more of these interviews because you're just an amazing guy, and I mean that from the heart. I mean that sincerely, and I'm so blessed to have known you. Very quickly, what do you want people to know? You got about half a minute. Tell people what do they really need to know?
Well, I tell them, think about a safe, secure way to make money. Just learn a little bit, and as you learn it, you'll see that it gets better and better. You and I will do more interviews, and they'll notice every time that it gets a little better and a little easier. This is a good program for the person that's buying it. It's a great program for the people that are being taken care of by the property tax code because people don't have to worry about their money. It's a beautiful investment.
All right. And Ted does have a website for people who are webbies. It's tedthomas.com if you want to go there rather than call. But that phone number, you'll get a lot of information, a lot of quick, good customer service at 855-220-2516. Ted, thank you. God bless you, my friend. We'll have you back.
Thank you.
I've truly enjoyed it. Thank you very much. All right, we'll be back.
So long, Roger. See you
next time. Thank you, sir. American Dreams Radio. See you next week, everyone. God bless you all. Don't forget that number for Ted. Order the classes. What do you got to lose? Nothing, right? 855-220-2516. Good night, everyone.